We're going to deal with working with the chakras, okay? Not just getting into basic stuff. We want to take it a little bit more in depth. You hear everybody talking about their crown chakra is activated. Thanks. All right, I'm going to use some simple explanations, and I like to give people the references I use. That's another thing we got going on amongst us. People act as if they're the sole source of the information, and they don't like to share their sources. I don't do that crap. I give you information, you can go research yourself. I'm not biased. I don't care if it was written by a Latino, a black, an Asian, or a Caucasian. It's all our stuff anyway. Here's the other thing I get. Oh, that book, that was written by white folks. But on a flip note, if you're going to sit there and say white people stole everything from us, it's our stuff anyway. So you should be intelligent enough to cipher through it and give the breakdown on it. So that can work as a twofold sword. We got to know how to utilize that. See, one of the great things that our great elder, and I've had him on my show a multitude of times, Dr. Delbert Blair said, and respect to the elder, and most of you know he just recently transitioned, one thing he said that's going to be the downfall of melanated people. I don't care if you're black, Latino, Asian, whatever you are, if we don't get over this color thing. Because we're getting stuck in the fact, and you see it through the media, you see it now with Donald Trump. They were about to riot in Arizona today. Now white America's got a big problem. It's called Donald Trump. Now white folks are getting ready to riot. So if we don't look at this whole thing as a whole, in a whole broader spectrum, this is way deeper than race. See, the problem with the conscious community now, everybody's caught up in this race thing. Everybody wants to, again, give lectures on how the white man's the devil and how the white people did this to you, we know the history. And I'm not negating that. But it's 2016. What's the plan moving forward? Okay, because bottom line is this. We're not going to take it to the streets with 9mm, pea shooters, bats, because that would open the door for them to come in with martial law, army tanks, military. Then they could just simply say, you can't govern your own neighborhoods. We need to come in and take control. So they're trying to get a reaction out of us right now. This is what they want us to do. And I've been telling people the answer is getting back to your spiritual systems. They have no answer and solution for this. And I've said before, instead of a 1,000,000-man march in D.C., we should have had a 1,000,000-man drum gathering. That would have scared the shit out of them. Because there's no, they don't know how to connect to that. Because if you really study the race thing and slavery, the first thing they took from us was our rituals and our culture. They don't want you in tune with the drum. They don't want you in tune with your ancient language, practicing your rituals, activating the energy of your ancestors. That's their biggest fear. They don't care if you get up there and give a 5-hour lecture on Egypt and Africa and how the white man's the devil. They laugh at that. They're like, oh, that's cool. They'll give you the platform for that all day. But when you start talking about stuff that we're talking about now they have a problem with that. So we got to use our resources a little bit more to our advantage. All the marching in the world, hey, you can take it any way you want. I'm not, and let me say this, and I don't say this in a disrespectful way. I'm not here to be concerned if you like what I'm saying or not. That's not my business. All I'm saying is you research what I'm talking about. You don't have to agree with everything I'm saying. You need to come to the realization of it yourself. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So by no means am I telling you to accept and believe anything that I'm telling you. I want you to come to that realization of it for yourself. Okay, that's key. But at the same token, I'm not concerned with people's petty human emotions. I'm not going to get into philosophical and historical debates. It's a waste of my time and energy. I did that for 20 years. I can debate Bible, Quran, religion, history all day. But it comes to the point, there's only so far that goes. So if we sit here and talk about who was first, that's the other big thing. Oh, we were first. All right, after we establish that, then what? That's my next question, and nobody has an answer. All right, you established you were first, you were original, then what? Then you turn around on the flip side and tell me there's this force called the devil or the white man that's keeping us down. But you just said you were original. You were first. And then I always ask this question, I get no answer. I get interpretation. If that is the case, and you belong to a culture where you claim that you're in tune with the original black God, whether it's, I don't care if it's the Nation of Islam, I don't care if it's some form of Egyptology, I don't care what it is. If you say that you're in tune with the original black God, I simply ask you the question, why did your black God allow the creation of the white man? And I don't get a logical answer. I get answers on how genetically they think the white man was created. That's not the question I'm asking. I don't want to hear the Yakub story, how Yakub was in his backyard grafting magnets. That's Santa Claus. If you believe in that, you might as well believe in Santa Claus coming down your chimney every December 25th, because that is a fictitious, faith-based story. It's not proven by any factual history. If you want to sit there and get the curse of Canaan, because the Nubians will give you that story, That scientifically and factually can't be proven. I can break that whole thing down. If you want to get into the flu garage, we can talk about that if you want. If you want to get into the whole story of Esau and Jacob, if you're a black Hebrew Israelite, I'll smash that apart for you too. These are stupid ideologies we cling on to justify ourselves for being failures, because it creates the excuse, we're in the situation we're in because the white man put us here. How can you be original and be first? Okay? That was then. We're in a state now where we still can't keep using that excuse. Well, you say, well, how do we overcome that? Because when you look at it on a physical surface, they seem to be ruling. Well, you keep allowing them to rule. If we take it to, remember, every problem has its origin spiritually first, before it does physically. Problem is we're attacking it physically first, not spiritually. That's the problem. So bottom line is, that's not the question I'm asking. I don't want opinions of how genetically you think the white man came about. If you understand the 7 Hermetic principles and polarity and vibration, you will understand it's a lesser manifestation of yourself. It's all the same thing. It was actually manifested by way of your genetics and your DNA. When you're looking at that, you're looking at a lesser reflection of yourself. Bottom line. Now again, that's something you got to dig deep for. I mean, can you find that exactly in a book? No. That's the other thing we got to get out of our heads. We think if we can't trace something to some book we read, everybody will call it pseudoscience. That's the new thing now. So if I can't explain something, it's pseudo. Well, when dealing with magic outside of the 3-dimensional realm, outside of person, place, or thing, all that's not recorded in a book. I deal with stuff outside of 3 density level. We're dealing with 4th dimension on. Okay, outside of person, place, and thing. Because everybody's giving you explanation of what the creator is. And when I say the creator, I'm not talking about some old man sitting in the sky in heaven. That's not what I'm talking about. That's what they talk about. Everybody's trying to get their definition of God defined by 3-dimensional beings. Person, place, thing. Everybody, if I went around this room right now, everybody would have their own explanation on what the creator is to them. And guess what? It would all be right and it wouldn't be wrong. Because that's how they are perceiving it based on where they are in their spiritual journey. Rather than attack the person, now if you're very religious, you're going to have a religious concept of what the creator is. The bottom line is, when dealing with the chakras, which is a key to understanding, nothing exists outside of yourself. You need to raise yourself up to that realization. The problem is, we spend our whole lives looking for answers to problems outside of ourselves that have always existed within. And we never find that true happiness, because we spend our whole lives to the grave, physically, looking outside of ourselves for the solutions to problems. We're looking for external explanations. We're looking for some magical God to fix our problems for us. It's not going to happen. The very creator you're looking for, just look in the mirror. And you will find out the first Hermetic principle, and you'll hear me say it 1,000,000 times, all is mental, mental is all. Everybody talks about Ma'at. You cannot understand Ma'at if you do not understand the 7 Hermetic principles of Tahuti. They are married and merged to each other. Get it through your head. So everybody's talking about Ma'at, which is the physical manifestation of the 7 Hermetic principles. Okay? So when I hear people talk about Ma'at, I'll take it back to the 7 Hermetic principles. And I don't get the explanation. I'm like, okay, so you're studying the physical aspect of the law. Which really, people can take that and turn it into religion. I hate to say it. Because what tends to happen is they do that in consciousness. They leave one level of faith and belief system called Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. Now they're Egyptologists, but they look at Heru and Ra as Christians would Jesus and Moses and Muhammad. Now we're back to man worship again, not understanding how those energies work. Okay? You are the only deity you should be worshiping. You need to raise yourself up to that. Hopefully some of this information tonight will spark that. So let's start with the root chakra. And by chance, this is a question and answer. If you have a question at any time, raise your hand. Because those that know me, I'll babble on forever. And I don't want this to be a babble session. I want to be some interaction. If you have questions, just raise your hand. And this is what this is. It's an open dialogue. We try to stay on the topic, but you know me, I can jump around anywhere. But I want to kind of try to stay in the area we're talking about, because then that tends to shift the energy of the class. And I want to kind of, make sure we stay on that road. But if it's something related that we veer off, we occasionally do that. All right. The root chakra, which is the first chakra, this is key, because you hear everybody talking about my chakras are activated. My crown chakra is activated. My brow chakra, my pineal gland is functioning. Well, most people are under the illusion of this, and I'm going to tell you why. The root chakra keeps you grounded to the earth. It ties into the earth element, number one. You need to also be familiar with the colors that are associated with it. Any form of red, brown, mauve, anything in the brownish red hues activate and incite it. So when you're working candle magic, I always tell people, burn brown or red candles. It'll help activate your root chakra. Your root chakra is what keeps you grounded. It keeps you from going crazy, meaning you have some people that are so spiritual that they have no common sense about the physical realm. Then you have some people that are so physical, and all they're doing, they're gravitating on such a low level that they're chasing physical things all the time. They have no connection to the spiritual realm. The root chakra keeps you centered. That's one of the key chakras that people don't focus on enough, because people are trying to attain the higher levels. Now, the root chakra, keeping you grounded to the earth, it balances you out mentally. It balances you financially. It keeps that balance between the physical and the spiritual realm. That's why a lot of us know people that are so spiritual, but they broke as hell. I'm just going to keep it real with you. They can sit there and tell you everything. They have a lot of knowledge, but there's an imbalancement. You see, physically, they're not successful. This is an imbalancement in the root chakra. Vice versa. Then you see some people that have a lot of financial success, money. They have everything they can want physically, but they're not happy mentally and spiritually. So because, again, there's that imbalancement. They're chasing physical things. The true master, magician, alchemist finds that fine line in the middle. Okay? That balancement. That's what Mahat really represents when dealing with the 7 Hermetic principles also. Alright? So the root chakra, by activating it and working with it, this is what keeps you balanced and grounded. Because bottom line is this. Anybody that tells you the human experience is something you need to bypass, it's something that's holding you down, they're complete fools. The human experience, you're here for a reason. You're here right now for a reason. To embrace that experience and master it and move forward. You've been here before. You've reincarnated here many times. You need to go deep within, whether it's via contemplative meditation, astral traveling. You need to figure out how many times you've incarnated here, who you were in the past life, because you carry those characteristics over to this life. And 9 out of 10 times, let me break this myth, you weren't always African in your past incarnations. So people don't like to hear that. Remember, you always come back to master something. Whatever you hate, you become. Okay, let me say that again. Whatever you hate, you become. The reason why you hate it so much is because there's an energy that you were connected to at some point in time. That's why you have such a viral hate for it. And you keep coming here till you get it right. When you stop coming here is when you've mastered the experience. Now you become a vital life force being, a being of energy, an etheric being, whatever you want to call it. You become now one of the ancestors. And you have the ability to come here at will and leave at will. You're not confounded to this realm anymore. You're able to travel interdimensionally at will. Do you understand that? So you need to tap deep into that to get a thorough understanding of exactly what that is. I'm going to stop this because I got